Why don't we talk
Yeah.
about some real world WWE stuff, Rusty?
Well, looking at the real world of professional wrestling now, we're looking at the results from Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia, and also what that implications are for WrestleMania. We are now
Yeah,
less than 40 days from WrestleMania. There won't be another premium live event until WrestleMania.
yeah, it's
And
crazy.
these results really matter.
They
Result
do.
number one, Lee, let's talk. Does this matter or not? The Kabuki Warriors, the defending women's tag team champions, in the pre show, one of
Yep.
my favorite matches, even though it was very short, defeated Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. Indy being a local Australian native,
Right.
huge crowd
Right.
response for her.
Yep.
Does it matter?
Didn't see it. Was on the pre-show,
Right.
so didn't watch it. I mean, I do typically watch some of the pre-show stuff, but just the timing of that day, I
Yeah.
just couldn't do it. I didn't see it. I will say though that it does bring up like one of the big things is currently justice for Bailey because Bailey won the Royal Rumble. You would not know that
I
if you
haven't seen her
watch
anywhere.
current
I
TV.
haven't seen her on
Yeah,
anything.
since she won the Rumble, she had that one segment that justified why she's facing EO. She wasn't at any press conference. She's not on the poster for
Right.
WrestleMania.
No, I don't know.
And
Did it
this
did
kind of reinforced that.
so this match was given less than 5 minutes, and it
Okay.
was one of the
On
better
the pre-show.
technical matches of the night. Candice LeRae is a wrestling
Right.
instructor, one of the most
Yeah.
proficient female technicians.
Mm.
Indy is the local girl. This should have been given more space. This should have been on the
Yeah.
card. And I
Yeah.
think out of the women's tag teams, like Indy and Candice actually have a following. They're
Yeah.
not having to manufacture a fan base, especially people that were NXT Black and Gold, like enthusiasts, with the
Right.
centerpiece that Candice LeRae was during the DIY implosion, one of the most
Right.
important storylines in the
Right.
history of Black and Gold. So there is a contingency of fan, myself, and those like me who are wondering what in the world do Candice and Gargano and Champa actually have to do to get a proper push on the main roster, because they
Yeah.
continue to be these workhorses that are overshadowed, overlooked. Is it just because they're small? Is
Mhm.
that it? Is it because they're little, physically short people? It doesn't make any sense to me. And then Indy overcompensates for Candice's height. She's taller than any other woman, I think, in the women's division. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I mean, I think they just haven't earned their spot on the main roster yet, but how much of that is down to booking, which is crazy because, the one who booked them so well in NXT is the one
Yep.
booking them
Yep.
now.
And I would
That's all
say
I got to say
this:
about that.
you're starting your intro about where is Bailey, file that under the same category of like, what
Yeah.
in the world does she have to do to actually get a push? Because this is Crazyville.
Yeah.
She has a story that actually matters, where this Rhea Becky match matters not. It matters to no one.
I,
Let's go there, Lee.
I
Women's
disagree.
chamber winner, Becky Lynch. Who cares? Do you care?
I do.
Why?
Yes. Because for one, so I'll be on the opposing side here. Justice for Bailey, yes. She's my Seth Rollins of the women's division. I don't enjoy watching her in anything she does whatsoever. I don't
Look, I'm
like
Solo
Bailey.
Sokoa. I'm coming out of the back to ruin the main event for you.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're
It's
my
like, how
only
many
hope.
bloodline in a black hoodie endings are we going to get this year? Like,
Right. Right.
enough already.
So I'm not invested in Bailey. I don't have any interest in her match at WrestleMania. I do think that she won the Rumble. She should be featured. That
What's
is
the
100%.
story? What's
But
the compelling story with Becky Rhea? Help me see it.
so they've been building Becky Rhea for over a year. They've done even commercial segments for last year's game where it like kind of pit Becky and Bianca and Rhea as like who's the top female in there. I think for me, and I don't want to say she's like done, but I think this is Becky's last hurrah. Honestly, I think it's her time to win the big one more time, and then kind of
Wow.
hand it off to the next generation, which I know she's not that old and next generation like, but I think it's
There's
her
so
time.
much
And
female talent just
her
waiting in
versus
the bay.
Rhea has been something they've built that up like since the pandemic era almost. Like it's been, yeah, it's been big. So for me, Becky is my favorite female superstar of all time, top
Yeah.
five superstars of all time. And I just want to see her in the main event. Like
So do
I
you
I just
think
love seeing her battle.
do you think that Rhea versus Becky will actually be the match on the card?
So there is question because if you watched Raw, Liv Morgan did a little segment of like her being like, "You all, everything's about Becky." It's just so they are casting some. I do think this will play into when we talk about Rhea versus Nia later on. Becky winning that match did at least make the main event of this show go, "Oh, maybe this isn't a foregone conclusion," because Nia and Becky could be a story if Rhea and Becky isn't, and
Again, here we
the
go.
let's just call it this, the previous generation of those who booked the show had a very staunch rule that if you were fighting in your hometown, you were going to lose.
Mm,
Period. And so Rhea fighting in her home country with the way WWE used to book things meant that she would lose.
yeah,
Nia versus Becky being a valid match. But of the other women in the chamber, is there anyone I wanted to see win? And the answer was not one single one. I don't
Tiffany.
want Bianca back up.
Man, Tiffany
So
Stratton. So
well,
good.
let me get there real quick. I don't want Bianca back up. She still needs to cool down. She had too long of a run where it was like, oh, she's Superman. Nobody can touch her. I don't want to see that again yet. Maybe in the future, not
Right.
yet. Um, Liv is a good B player. I don't see her. She had her main event run.
Just the
It
poor
was
man's Alexa
not
Bliss is what
fantastic.
I feel about her.
The poor man's Alexa Bliss,
Yep.
right?
She doesn't have the mic skills. She doesn't have the
Right,
ring skills.
right.
She's the cute blonde that kind of looks alternative. And
Ooh,
Alexa has that on lockdown. And
yeah.
so it's like,
I do like Liv. I do like Liv,
what?
but
What about her? Does she
I don't,
cries and gets really hurt a lot?
she's got the
And
Harley Quinn energy, which is what she went for with all the, I mean, so did
that was
Alexa.
how Alexa premiered on the main roster as
I
Harley.
know. Harley Quinn, Alexa, I know.
You
I know.
basically proved my point that she's the
I
poor man's
did.
Alexa Bliss.
So, out of everyone, so I think for the women's chamber, the one that got the biggest benefit from it was Tiffany Stratton because
Yeah.
one, the Australian audience was so far behind her. Two, for people like me, this is the first time I've ever experienced anything with Tiffany Stratton.
Man,
Never
she's
seen her,
incredible.
never. I heard that she was the title and she beat Becky for the title or whatever.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
was the rub for her. So I think
Right.
like talking about Mania being the existing guard, which is Becky. I think after Mania, she wins the title. Tiffany Stratton steps up, beats Becky again. This is the story I would tell. And now Tiffany Stratton has this huge chip on her shoulder to
I
say,
love
you
it.
know, the man, the dominant one. I beat her for the NXT title. I beat her for the women's world title. I am now the man. That's where
She
this needs to go.
Tiffany Stratton is the most talented female in all of professional wrestling, both
Ooh,
on the mic, in the ring, camera ready, ring ready, former
sizzling
Olympic
hot
athlete.
takes.
She is the top guy in the
Yeah,
women's division. They just don't know it yet.
right.
She's it.
So that's why I think Becky winning is important because now you're booking Tiffany Stratton versus Becky Lynch post Mania.
Right.
That's where we go.
I
That's
think I
that's
think
my
what's going to
argument.
develop in the women's division, and this is a deep forecast, but I think Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton have the potential to be the Randy Orton versus John Cena for the next 10 years as like the
Wow.
premium rivalry where the
Wow.
title is on the line and goes back and forth and they're the
Wow.
top of the division for the next decade. I really see it. I really
I'm
believe
I'm
it.
with you. I'm
And
sad Jade got pulled from that, but then I would have wanted Jade to win the
right,
title, and that's
everyone
not,
would have.
yeah,
Everyone would
everyone would
have,
have.
right?
Yeah.
So
So
you
that's my
can't.
argument for Becky Lynch. That's why it was so good that she won this.
I
If they build
right,
Tiffy Time
and I
as
love that. I'm
the
all.
challenger.
I would love to see that. I don't believe we're gonna get a Becky versus Rhea match. I just don't.
Mm,
I don't see a way
mm,
forward out of that. I think
mm.
we're gonna get Becky versus Rhea with Nia and
Maybe
potentially
with
with
Liv.
Bianca. That it's going to be
Oh,
a 4-way, a 3-way. I think someone else is going to eat that pin.
yeah.
They cannot have Becky pin
Clea.
Rhea cleanly. Combine those words. It cannot
Rhea
be a clean
cleanly.
pin. Becky cannot go over on the number one merchandise seller in all of WWE. It's not going to happen. Rhea's
Yeah.
not dropping that title cleanly to Becky.
I don't
A
think she'll
Becky
drop it cleanly, but she's going to drop it.
a Becky run doesn't even make sense to me at this point.
Mm,
Neither does a Bianca run. A
yeah.
Nia run would be terrible, but at least it would make sense. At least it would make sense
No.
that there could be a big bad that everyone's gunning for and that someone like a Stratton could take down. That makes sense to me, right? I like your idea better. I like your idea better about
Yeah.
rekindling. Tiffany and Becky Lynch had incredible chemistry in that feud.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
A plus viewing, incredible.
Yep. So
Um,
so that's why Becky 100% has to beat Rhea, and this
and
is
she,
what they need to book.
and
Just
she
book
can't pin
it.
her
It's
cleanly. It's like she can't win it by
she
count
beats
out.
Rhea cleanly, and then Tiffany Stratton beats Becky cleanly,
I,
and then you can go in on a feud
yeah.
between Rhea and Tiffany Stratton. Like,
They just don't protect. They don't protect their superstar. I mean, they do protect their superstars tremendously, and I don't
yeah,
see her just eating a same way I don't see Roman just eating a pin to Cody. Like I don't see it
yeah,
happening. I don't see Roman just signing off. He's not going to lay down for Cody and get bested at Mania.
we'll get
There's
there.
no way. There's no way. But what the heck is this? Drew McIntyre wins the men's chamber? Why? Who can like maybe in the same breath as I would say who cares about Becky Rhea? Who cares what Drew, Seth? We got a Scottish person against a reigning champ and you don't really care about the match and they're kind of mirrored. Becky
Yeah.
Rhea versus Drew Rollins. I could care less. Whatever happens in the other title is far more interesting. Lee, am I wrong? Is this a horrible
I
take?
think
Am
it's
I
just a different perspective because again, if it were Rhea versus Nia, Rhea versus Bianca or whatever, I'm the viewer who that's my potty break match right there. And
yeah.
similarly, I've said it before, I don't enjoy Seth Rollins as a character. I
Is this the
just
night
don't.
one main event?
Maybe there's talk for Cody versus Rock as night one, and then Cody versus Roman
What?
for night two. But let me get there. So Drew McIntyre was I loved his championship reign during the pandemic era. I mean, I was all in. And if you watch that documentary, the
Yeah.
365 for Drew McIntyre for
I
WrestleMania,
need to watch it.
where
Maybe
he
it'll help me
where he
care.
talks about like I got to be the champion. I finally got to the part that I've wanted my whole life. I dreamed about it my whole life, and there's no one there. You're like,
That's right.
oh, your heart goes out for him. Oh man, I just messed up my throat trying to be Scottish.
Let me ask you
So,
this.
so I want to see him, and to be honest, he might be the most interesting person to me in the men's division overall.
Wow.
Like, I really like his
Okay.
story, and him coming out with the CM Punk digs and doing
I
the whole
like
"I
it.
prayed for this, I
That's really
prayed for
good.
this, and it happened." Like, oh my gosh, like that jerk hole of a character he's playing.
Yeah.
I love it. Like I
You're
secretly
right.
just love
He's a
it.
far more interesting heel than he is a face. He makes no
Oh yeah.
sense as a face. He has the body of a heel. Him and Orton both make no sense as good guys.
Yeah.
They're weird as the good guy.
So the only reason I really enjoy this though is Drew versus Seth doesn't really interest me at all, but Drew when CM Punk comes back.
Oh,
That's going to be so good.
I thought you were going to take it in
So
a different
good.
direction. I thought you were going to say,
Oh,
but Drew versus Seth when Senor Money in the Bank comes down and has the El
oh, it could
Heisto
be
de la
two.
Cinturio, it's like he's going to
That could
come
be
down
two.
and pull off something. What's he holding this briefcase for still? Right?
Right.
Night one, they lose the titles. Night
Yep.
two, maybe he comes
To the
out,
awesome truth. Yeah.
or maybe early in the show they lose the titles, and then later in the show he cashes in, right? I mean, I got
Yeah.
that's the I how are they going to make this interesting? It's going to have to be CM Punk ringside interference, a Senior Money in the Bank cash in, even if it's a failed cash in, but it's a cash in nonetheless, right? Let him superplex Seth,
Right.
and then Drew gets the pin, right? I don't know. Maybe Orton interfere. I don't know. There's any number of things that I could see.
Yeah.
This match is
Yeah.
bland chicken that needs some seasoning. This is
Yep.
this is like put it on the grill.
Agreed.
It ain't sizzling. You better put some sauce on that because we need it popping for WrestleMania, right?
Yep, agreed. I mean, again, for me, it's because it's against Seth, not because it's Drew. But still, either way, it is very filler, and it shouldn't be probably with a world title on the line.
Does the
Anyway, let's move
bloodline
on.
interfere? Does the bloodline interfere? And that's
That's what
why
they brought in
Seth,
this week as a possible question mark. I honestly
right?
think they're building up to a Seth heel turn where he sides with Roman.
And so the Shield comes back, or what?
Maybe Seth, like, yeah, maybe the bloodline turns on Roman and the Rock leads the bloodline, and then Seth has already aligned with Roman, and so
That
now
would
the
be
Shield versus the bloodline.
phenomenal. You know how much merch
Yeah.
they would sell if The Rock led the
The
defunct
bloodline.
Roman excommunicated bloodline? Like that would
Yeah.
be like reunite the Usos.
The pure bloodline.
Oh man. Oh my
You were
gosh.
always impure, Roman. I am the pure tribal chief.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. Like low on the card at Elimination Chamber was the tag match, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and they defeated the was it called the New Catch Republic of Pete Dunne and Tyler
Yeah.
Bate. Now,
Maybe.
here's what I'm asking though. Does
Hmm.
that match actually have the most implication on what could possibly play out at WrestleMania? Meaning a cash in or a solo run for Balor or a new tag team rising up to take the place of
Yeah.
these kind of placeholder champions that make no sense. Um, what do you see? What do you think about any of that? The New Catch
Well,
Republic is really
yeah,
hard to say.
I was thinking about that before because you said like when we just put two guys together, what is that? I mean, technically that's what every tag team is when it starts. It's just two random guys that they put together, whether it's in developmental or whether it's when they're training. I mean, at some point it's just, oh, we threw these guys together to see what they could do. And I think Finn Balor and Priest have, once they stopped the whole, are they going to fall apart? Once they
Right.
stopped all that, it was like they're a decent team. Now, in terms of Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, NXT history, NXT UK history. Thank goodness Pete Dunne is Pete Dunning
Right.
again and not Butching again.
No Butch.
But the new Catch Republic is maybe I'm missing it. Maybe there's something that I don't understand in that. That is perhaps the worst tag team name I've ever heard.
So
They could have
so
come out as the Newserweights, and I would have been happier with
So
that.
Pat McAfee said, who's now apparently a staple on every WWE TV program, Pat
Right,
McAfee said, well, catch style wrestling is what is so big in England and what they kind of exemplify in ring.
right.
I never
Yeah,
heard this term before.
me
I didn't
either.
know it was a thing. But it's kind of like strong style, right?
Right.
King of strong style. And you're like, what the heck is
Okay.
strong style? I don't watch New Japan. I
Well,
don't know
then
what any
I'm
of that
glad to
is.
be wrong on that. It just struck me as lesser than
But
early
you're right.
on.
It has a
Oh,
meaning, but the meaning doesn't matter. And we don't know what we don't know it. We don't know what the meaning is. I couldn't.
Yeah, unless
Was
they go in on that more.
maybe so.
But like strong style didn't mean, but at least strong style has the word strong style in it, right? Whereas new catch, like honestly, initially I thought it was a fishing term. I thought it was like,
Oh yeah,
oh, they're gonna go catch some fish or
the
something
big
like that. Like
bass.
legitimately, that's what I thought it was. But again, I don't want to be xenophobic and say that is the wrong play. If that means something to a culture, then that's phenomenal. It landed weird with me.
Well, I followed WWE NXT UK, the longest acronym in wrestling history. I followed it pretty close. I don't ever remember hearing that term. I don't ever
Gotcha.
remember that being a thing.
Yeah.
It might have been very possible that I just missed it.
Yeah.
But until they decoded the meaning of it, I was like, why do they keep screwing with Pete Dunne's names? Why can't they just give him
Yeah.
a good name? Like,
Right.
like when he was with the Brutes, right? And he had Butch and Botch, right? The two guys that like either made no sense or tried to kill you in the ring, right? And then
Whoa.
it's like, I,
Whoa. Whoa.
oh man, right? But it's like,
Oh,
why keep screwing with him? Why keep giving
I
him
don't know.
dumb gimmicks and
I don't
dumb,
know.
just let him be the scrappy little guy that he is in
Yeah.
his onesie, I love that he wears that,
His furry onesie.
the bizarre onesie that he wears and he bites the belt as his, that was
Oh,
all great.
right.
Lee, do you have any we'll wrap up the show, but do you have any
Sure.
bold predictions or hot takes for what you think will happen at Mania that we just won't see coming? It's like,
Well,
I didn't
we
see
we
that
don't want to
coming.
overlook Rhea versus Nia. I will say it was class move giving Rhea the
Oh
top
yeah, I'm
spot, top
sorry.
honors,
We left that off the
and
card.
she won. She was in her hometown. She was it was a good match. Like not she worked well with Nia, made you believe for a few minutes. Oh my gosh, maybe she could have
Right.
but then she did the thing. She celebrated with her family. I mean, it was just a feel good moment, and
Really cool
they
to see
very
him.
easily could have put the men's main
Right.
event and instead they
You're
went
right.
with the right call.
You're right.
So
And I'm sorry I omitted that when I was
yeah,
reading through
okay.
the card.
Well, we kind of talked through Rhea and Nia in
Right.
the Becky conversation. So I don't think there's anything else I have to add there per se. I will
Well,
say
in front of
overall,
50,000 fans at a
oh yeah.
huge soccer stadium in Perth,
Oh yeah.
Australia. That's
Right.
incredible to have her headline, to be the headliner,
The
the main
headliner.
event.
Yeah.
That's really incredible.
Yeah, in fact, that was my wife because my wife asked like, why is Rhea and Naya going last on here? I was like, well, imagine that you get to like do a show, whatever, maybe you're a musical artist, maybe you're a painter, maybe you're whatever, but you're an artist. You get to do a show in your hometown,
Right.
and now it's 50,000 people have come there to see you. Like that is for Rhea, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
whatever happens at Mania, that is the moment that she'll talk about in documentaries 25 years from now.
You're right. And it was a great moment. It was a great moment for women's
So,
wrestling. And
yep.
we probably talk more about the women's division on our show, and always
Yeah.
have. I think it's just more interesting,
It's
honestly.
more
And
aside from maybe the Cody Roman
right,
stuff, but maybe we can
right.
talk that next week. Who
Well, and I have
knows?
daughters. So like I'm a girl
Yeah.
dad. So like the women's
Yeah.
division is the
Same.
main division in my house. So I probably talk
That's
about it
good.
and follow it closer.
That's good. Well, and my son's favorite wrestler has been Bianca. My daughter doesn't care about wrestling, but my son like he'll like tell me
Right.
when Bianca's on, and then otherwise he's like, he likes some of the guys' stuff. Like when they really are beating the snot out of each other, he's like, ooh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna watch this. But otherwise, he doesn't care about the stories
Any
aside from
weird
Bianca.
or bad or bold or strange mania take? You got a 2 night event that's probably going to have 40 matches in it. Do you have anything, just a bold, out of left field prediction or something you'd love to see happen that we would not expect?
I don't know if it's a prediction or if it's just kind of following up on what I already said. For me, this feels like it's a zero pay-per-view, right? It's a 40, it's a 30, it's a 20. That has been where they kind of start to really push the next generation of what's going
Mm,
on. And that doesn't always hold true. I get it. WrestleMania 10 wasn't quite that, although it was Razor Shawn and, blah, blah, blah. But that tends to be where the next generation starts to really get their shine.
Yeah.
I would say, like with my prediction with Becky going to Tiffany Stratton, I think Becky wins, and then Tiffany Stratton takes it and runs with the future.
Hmm.
The bloodline story needs to be, this chapter of it needs to be done. Cody needs to take the belt, run with the future of it. And then they'll set up Rock versus Roman for the tribal chief,
I'm
and
excited
Roman
about
becomes the
that.
good guy. But I think this is really like with the tag team titles, it's time to establish a new town. I know it's
Split
going to be
them.
the awesome truth, but
Split the belts,
split them. Agreed. With the
please.
IC title, Gunther's going to lose that and go on to face Drew
At Mania?
for the main title. No, he's going to lose the title at Mania,
Who's
and then he's
who's
going to
he
go on to face
to
Drew.
who? Who's he going against? Or who would you
Um,
say he's going against?
well, I don't know if you follow the storyline right now. They've set up about 5, 6 different people. I think
Right.
they're going to do like a massive multi-man match, and then Gunther can say, "I never lost. I didn't eat the pin. I never lost
Put it
this."
on do a ladder match, like a Money in the Bank style. That would be
Yeah, disadvantage
incredible.
Gunther right off the bat.
That
Yeah,
would be
this
incredible.
ground-based striker.
I could
But I
see
think
Gable
Gunther
or
comes in.
Jey
Sorry, go ahead.
Uso, Jey
Yeah,
Uso or Gable or Sammy. Any one of those I think would be
yeah,
credible. Um,
right.
Sami Zayn climbing a ladder to pull that IC off in
Would be
Mania would be
huge.
Daniel Bryan type main
Right.
event fire. It would be so
Yeah.
exciting.
And that was a zero. That was 30, right? So
Yep.
this is where, so I think Gunther gets the rub where he loses this title, but now he goes on to win the world title. Tiffany isn't in the main event here, but she is the one established to go on to fight Becky after that. I think this is the inaugurating of the next era of WWE.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Um, I don't know that I have a really bold, outlandish Mania prediction yet. Um, but I think we're seeing a need for the tag titles to be split, um,
100%
for the um, women's tag titles to matter again
matter.
and not float around NXT at all.
Right.
Um, I think this is going to be, and okay, here's my outlandish take is this. We will see some appearance or some foreshadowing of the Wyatt Six debut, or they will debut the night after Mania, the Raw after Mania. And I think it might even be
Interesting.
Alexa just walking out in her getup, or it might be, Karrion Cross getting jumped out of AOP's thing, and like I think we're gonna see whatever the build of this, what they're calling wormwood, right? Which is a great C.S. Lewis reference from Bo.
Yeah.
Like I think Mania is the time to surprise us with that,
Yeah.
or that could be me wishful thinking and hoping and praying that something interesting and as creative as what the Fiend was could make its return, and that there could be an element on WWE TV again for
Yeah.
sci-fi horror, that there could be
Yeah.
some. With the Undertaker gone, there is a huge void in wrestling, of what his persona and his
Mm.
storytelling, was so captivating for the majority of our life. And now
Right.
it's gone. That magic is gone.
Yeah.
Bray was the continuance of that magic, and then he was gone way too early.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. That would be my outlandish prediction, bold
That's good.
aspiration for Mania.
That's good. That's really good. Well, I think we're out of time,
Yeah, we are.
but I would love to see that. If you followed this part but didn't see the first part, be sure and check out WWE Champions, the mobile game. It's better than 2K24. It's better. Also,
Take that,
just gonna
suckers.
keep dropping that in there.
Oh my
Plus, it had
gosh.
Stardust first. Plus, it had anyway, it had
Oh
Muhammad Ali
man.
first. Eat it.
Oh,
Anyway,
oh.
but we do enjoy this community. We love being a part of it. Thank you for allowing us to have a voice at the table, so to speak. And we will see you on our next one. Bye.